What's up, America? It's your girl bringing you some news you can use. We are live, IntellectualRadio.com, which is an iHeart radio station. Today, we're going to be sharing information, giving introspection, and most of all, providing inspiration. The quote, stop living check to check. Stop living check to check. Some people get paid on Friday and they broke on Saturday. People get paid on Friday and they broke on Monday. Sometimes they don't even put gas in their car to get them back to their job. If you or you know someone who is sick and tired of living from check to check, today is the first of the month. It's time to break the cycle. And then at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk about how you can be 1 month ahead with just a little income. Do you think that's possible? Well, we're going to find out. I think everybody has issues with finances. So who do you think is better with finances? Men or women? That's today's question. Who do you think is better with finances? Men or women? I'm going to post it today. I want to see what the survey says. What do Facebook say? What does Twitter say? What does LinkedIn say? What does Periscope say? So that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you get ahead with your expenses if you're living from check to check? What are some of the things you can do? If you was living and now you're not, you got a little reserve. You don't have to be extravagant, but you got a little reserve, or you're working toward a budget, then we would like for you to call in and share your comments or suggestions, so that we can all accord. Stop living check to check. How do we do that? How do we have a reserve for at least 1 month? Or let's go better than that. How do we do a reserve for 90 days? Because things always happen. A lot of money sitting somewhere, and then you say, oh my God, I got to buy a water pump. I got to buy a new refrigerator. I got to buy this. I got to do this. So what do you do when you don't have a reserve? Do you need a reserve? Do you need a budget? Can you just make it without a budget? Are you okay with living from check to check? So we're going to talk about all of that. So grab your favorite drink. I got 2 drinks now. So in my left hand, I got my 1 cup of Dunkin' Donuts, my sponsor. And then in my right hand, I got the infamous flat tummy water. 1,000 cases sold Saturday. 1,000 cases. And I have an order for 100 cases. People will be picking up water every day this week. If you would like to try a sample of flat tummy water, give us a call at 708-998-3799. Again, 708-998-3799. Or if you'd like to place an order, give us a call. We would love to hear from you. I'm going to have testimonies next week of try flat tummy water and let you hear what they have to say. So don't go anywhere. Stay close. We are live, Intellectual Radio and iHeart radio station. Share the broadcast. We'll be back in a moment. Good morning.
It's 2 for $5 coming at you live.
Hey, sir, welcome to Burger King. How are you? See what he orders.
No pressure. All of America's watching.
Original chicken sandwich.
Big King. And the foul.
How you going to lose when you mix and match?
Mix and match 2 large premium sandwiches for $5 only at Burger King.
Good morning.
It's 2 for $5.
It's a
Hi, my name is Team Olivia Pate. Listen to Making Waves with Miss Darci on IR and iHeart radio station, Tuesday and Thursday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. We love you, Miss Darci. These 100%.
Good morning. Good morning. What can I get for you?
A medium hot coffee, cream and 2 sugars, please.
Medium hot coffee, cream, 2 sugar. Sounds good.
At Dunkin', we make your coffee just the way you like it. If not, we'll make it again on the spot. Commitment. America runs on Dunkin'.
Good morning. What can I get for you?
A medium hot
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, I am your on-air host, Miss Darci D. We broadcast live every Tuesday and Thursday, starting at 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. This weekend, before I tell y'all what I did this weekend. Let's start with anything interesting.
Start with me. Well, I went and saw my younger brother, one of my younger brothers. So
okay.
There's three of us, right?
How many is you all?
I have 5 boys all together.
Five? No girls?
Well, I do have a sister.
Okay.
She's in Connecticut.
Okay.
On my father's side. So she is still a sister, absolutely. But 3 of us, two of us, my brother and then my nephew, I took him down and we went and saw one of our younger brothers. So it was really nice to fellowship and see one another and break bread and had a really awesome time.
Good for you.
Yeah. Hit the road. 5-hour trip. We were just rolling.
Road trip. We got 2 road trips this weekend.
We were pushing up the road.
All right. Money man. He got a new job and he making some MONEY. Talk to us, Khalil.
Yeah, I got my new job at Amazon and I've been getting a lot of overtime. So I was pretty much working most of my weekend. Except on my one day off, I just relaxed.
Nothing wrong with that. Thinking about the check when they come in, right?
Yeah.
So you only got one day off?
Mm-hmm.
They're working you hard like that?
Well, the job is not hard. It's just that you're on your feet a lot, but they paying me good, so
you're happy
about it. No problem being.
Do they have part-time hours?
Oh yeah, yeah. The part-time hours, it's kind of stressful, but because it's from 6:30 at night to 7 in the morning, but part-time gets paid more than full-time.
Oh wow! Call up Amazon.
I know that's right.
Okay,
I had a 40th birthday party. One of my girlfriends, she turned 40. Woohoo!
All right.
And she had a lovely, lovely party at J. Parker Rooftop.
Oh wow!
In the Lincoln Hotel.
Oh, that should have been really nice.
Yeah. It was very, very nice. And so we just had a good time. We lived it up all night, and I paid for it the next day. Okay. So that's what I did for the entire weekend.
Isn't that something when you have stuff like activities Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you kind of feel it Monday if you don't get a break in there somewhere. We went to Cincinnati. Oh my God. We went to Cincinnati to the Cincinnati Music Festival in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it was 9 buses, 50 people on each bus. Road trip. Oh, wow. We had fun. We had champagne and orange juice that morning. We had we had food, we had jerk chicken, we had fruit, we had all kind of snacks. You name it, we had it on the bus. I got to meet people. We had music. Elliot had music. We had stepping music. They were stepping in the aisles. Then we had the line dance. They were trying to do the line dance while they was holding on to the top of the chairs on the bus, but it was really, really nice. I was really impressed with the washroom on the bus. Nice, clean, no smell. I don't even know how they did that, but it was amazing. So I didn't want to just break in because I didn't know a lot of people. I didn't know who was all on the other buses. So I didn't want to break in and just start talking about my flat tummy water. So I just waited. So we stopped. And when we got off to stretch our legs, we stopped for an hour where there were restaurants. And I saw somebody that I hadn't seen probably in about, maybe it's my birthday. And I got off the bus. She was like, "What are you doing?" I had on a romper, and she was like, "Oh, I know you lost weight. What are you doing? You're not going to the health club. You're not using Jenny Craig." So I got back on the bus, and I showed her my flat tummy water. And she's like, "I'm going to need to get all that information. I need to order me some." And I was like, "Okay, cool." When we got to the hotel and all the buses pulled up and we got off, they was like, "What bus is she on? What bus is she on?" When I got off the bus, they just bombarded me saying they want to try it. So I did have some samples. They were all gone. I had my first fresh business cards. They are all gone. And now I have 100 new customers and 100 new orders. The people that don't reside in Illinois, I'm trying to find an economy way to ship it to them. So tomorrow morning, I'll be out with my 2 cases, finding out a place to do a bargain where I can ship 1 case or 2 cases that's inexpensive. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow morning. If you have an idea or suggestion on how I can ship flat rate, because the post office is just too high. And so I would like to be able to do that. If you know of a small warehouse in the western suburbs, please let me know. My number is 708-998-3799. This flat tummy water is bigger than me, and it's taking over my house, so I got to move it to another location.
And so just so you know, I've just become an operations manager, so I'm seizing the moment at this moment, so you don't need to send in any resumes or anything like that. I've already taken care of that. So
but I'm wondering, like, she's saying that she gave samples to other people. Have you guys had samples? Have you guys tried samples? Because I'm just saying, I know that I haven't been offered. I haven't been offered.
Now that you raised that,
I haven't been offered a sample.
You know, it's interesting.
If my co-host would like a sample, they know they're more than welcome to have a sample. They know I don't come in the door without flat tummy water. They know this.
I see it.
Earl said you have to have a tummy.
I have a tummy.
Well, Lakita, I didn't think she really needed, but she might want to try it.
But I think the polite thing to do would be to offer. If you're going to put 6 bottles in my face every week, I have to sit here and look at it.
Would you like to try some flat tummy water?
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes, Bernard, would you like to try some flat tummy water?
Since you've asked, I will say it. So
Cleo, would you like to try so you can help?
Yeah, I trust.
Okay. See? So producer, I'm just going to give him some because I already know he needs some.
He agreed.
He said, yes, I do. He said, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm glad. See, that's the first step. That's the first step. Oh, my goodness. If today is your birthday and you're celebrating a birthday, I'm glad you made it to this day of your birthday. So I want to say, hope your special day brings you all your heart desires. Here's wishing you a day full of pleasant surprises. Excuse me. Happy birthday from Making Waves with Miss Darci and crew. I didn't know until I walked into the studio today with Miss Nikki. I think her last name is Martinez. She was a guest on my show back in 2014 when my co-host was Katie Lowe, who's also a comedian. And she promoted, she talked about it. She wasn't ashamed of breast cancer. She promoted it. She joked about it. And she fought the fault. What? Yeah, can I do this? Can I do this? Thank you, Sister Producer. Thank you, Sister. I appreciate that. So her friend of hers co-host with me, which was Katie Lowe, who's also a comedian. And so they ran the market together in the comedian industry. And so her and another lady by the name of Diane were my guests. And they made jokes and they talked about what they do and how they come up with jokes and how they get the crowd going. Because I always wonder when you're a comedian, if people don't laugh at your jokes, they boo you. So how do you keep going? Do you just leave the stage? You know how you do that? But with her having cancer, she continued to press forward, and she ended up having her own show here at Intellectual Radio on Sundays at 4. She was never late. She was always here. She was a trooper. And so just recently, she started experiencing things with cancer. We know cancer is its own beast, but she always stayed humble. She was a very meek person, and I just want to take this time to salute her and offer my condolences to her and her family. She passed away on Sunday, and so I didn't know, and I see the studio is filled with pictures of her, and I just want to say, you know, we love you, we miss you, and you were definitely a trooper. And so, you know, my heart and prayers, and as we get information on funeral or memorial, we will definitely let you know here at Intellectual Radio. On another note, I don't know if it's really going to be a positive note, but the judge lifted the tax, water, juice, pop, alcohol. So how do you think that's going to impact us? Because they're going to implement it. I don't know when it's going to start, but it's going to be starting soon. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that we should have to pay an extra tax on water, on the soda tax? What do you guys think about that? I feel, let me just give you my opinions. These are not the opinions of Intellectual Radio or iHeart. I feel personally that Cook County needs somebody to manage their financial situation, because all of these people that work every day pay taxes, whether you get paid weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, and they keep saying they don't have money. When they instituted 2 new lottos They said it was going to be for education. And then a year or two later, they closed all the schools. So what happened to that money? And now they're saying they don't have money for the upcoming school year. We go through this every year. So the judge dismissed the Cook County soda tax. And so it's getting ready to start. I think it's coming up this week that it's actually going to start. And so how do you think this will impact us as a whole, as a people? How do you think this will impact us?
I mean, certainly from an economic perspective, it hits our wallet. But that's everything. We are taxed on everything that we purchase. And so one of the things that it's getting into your money is budgeting necessary, absolutely. I think, and with that in mind, you have to then factor in your taxes and add that as a component, if you will, with your when it comes to budgeting and having everything in order. I don't think that we can get around. There needs to be a more creative way on how our state appropriate funds and how. And one of the ways that we do that is create more entrepreneurs. And I think that's one of the beauties of this show, is to inspire individuals who have a vision, an idea, and may not know what to do. But when you tune in, maybe you can hear some information that will spark, if you will, that and ignite that vision for you to birth it. And I think entrepreneurship is one of the ways in how we can dispense revenue for the state, have more people to become employed, if you will, and help to fund our state and the various objectives that we need to accomplish. But taxes is with us for life.
Yeah, and actually, just to confirm, it's scheduled to go into effect tomorrow, Wednesday, August 2nd. So Cook County shoppers who buy sweetened beverages will be charged a penny per ounce starting tomorrow.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, and you didn't ask me. Is it my turn? Can I do it?
Anybody.
Okay.
I just that's a lot. I thought it was
like
illegal.
He wanted to say something else.
I thought it was illegal to do that, but I guess it's not. The judge thought it was too. That's why he
passed
it. But they passed it.
So it's like the burden of taxes, in the county and the city actually the city too, is like too much. Now we have the bag tax.
Yep, 8 cents. Some people charge 8 cents. Yeah.
If you go to a store and you buy some stuff, you got to pay 8 cents for the bag. That's already one thing. And now we're going to have the sugary beverage tax. You said 1 cent per every ounce.
Per ounce.
Just to cut consumption of sugar reasons. So they want to help people become more healthy by imposing this tax. Same thing why they want to help people reduce accidents by requiring that automobiles have insurance, liability insurance. It's for the public safety. But I think at the end of the day, it's all about money and the lack and the ability of the government to be able to make the budget. Illinois budget has been like a fiasco the last couple of
Forever.
years. All about money and the lack and so I think it has a lot to do with that. But I think the bright side of it.
You think it's a bright side?
I do think it's a bright side.
Okay, I want to know the bright side.
I think there's a bright side.
What's the bright side?
I say it's a bright side as I have.
Because she got Pepsi. How many ounces you got sitting right here?
My 20 ounces of my wild cherry Pepsi.
She got a 20 ounce sitting right here. Yeah, that's the opposite of flat tummy water.
And
so that's $2 tax.
Yeah, because on that they said on that 99 cent of like a 99-cent liter, you're paying almost $3. Paying like $2.79.
I think this drink is
for a 99-cent liter,
$1.90, almost $2 for this drink. Yeah. So, but you were just talking about your the loss of the other radio host to cancer.
Yeah,
and one of the big contributors to cancer is sugar.
Is it?
Yeah. So if you want to be preventive, sugary diets, sugary foods lead to increase in cancer.
So what about like using unsweetened sugar? Is that better or no?
No, it's not better. It's not better.
Okay.
And also using a acidic diet. So acid drinks. So they want you to have, in order for you to be like healthy and balanced, you need an alkaline diet. So it needs to be more basic. All of these sodas are acid. So
my Flat Tummy water is all natural with alkaline water. Bam.
Is it?
Did I do the darn thing?
Well, what is in there?
I can't. If I tell you that, I have to kill you.
But how do I know that's basic? I'll have to get a litmus.
Well, on there it does tell you
pH meter.
Right. It does tell you on the new labels. The next cases will have the labels on them. It does give you one of the ingredients, but all the other ingredients are all natural, organic. There is no sugar in this.
I see a question.
See a question? Would you give up Pepsi for Flat Tummy water? Okay, that's directed at somebody because I don't. That's directed at somebody in the studio because I don't even drink Pepsi. So I said, would you give up Pepsi? And then he spelled Tommy, Tommie. Tommy is Tummy. Because I'm trying to figure out who Tommy is. That's what I'm looking at. Who is Tommy?
Lowercase T.
Okay, so this is directed at Lakita. Lakita, would you give up Pepsi for Flat Tummy water?
I mean, I have to taste this sample. I don't know.
She has to taste
I
a sample.
Taste a sample, but see what it's about. But I do need to reduce the number of drinks and sodas that I drink just because of my health and balancing my health. We don't want cancer. We want to be preventive. And then I don't want to spend this extra money. I want to use this money for something else.
So I'm going to have to drive to DuPage and get my water, my pop, my alcohol, and my soda.
And then just carry it around in your car.
Yeah, I'm carrying Flat Tummy water around in my car, so I might as well just let the seats down and put some more stuff in the car, right?
You know what? This is like, wait a minute. Okay, so since we have the entrepreneur mindset,
we can set up a stand and bring the water from DuPage here and have our own tent and sell it to the people in Chicago.
That's what Al Capone would do.
Yeah. Earl, what you think about that, Earl? Don't tell Earl that because Earl will be outside. He'd be outside with a tent right now. We'd be broadcasting live outside of a tent in DuPage County. And we have cases lined up.
Yeah,
alcohol, water, and juice.
You're gonna have to keep it in your trunk because I'm sure selling it at a cheaper price would probably be illegal. They'll find some way for it to be illegal.
Well, if you get a business license, it can't be illegal. You gotta get a license.
But if you're paying taxes, the person
they're gonna try to figure out something.
Yeah.
They may not know for like 4, 5, 6 months, but when the sales drop, then they're gonna be trying to figure it out. But I'm telling you, people are resourceful. They're gonna figure out something because they're not gonna want to pay $2.70. You're getting the 99-cent liter because it's on sale for 99 cents at the gas station, and now you're gonna pay $2.70. I might as well go to Jewel's or Dominic's or Whole Foods or right. Yeah. Don't drink it at all. Just call me. I'll get you some Flat Tummy water. 998-3799 708 area code.
And I kind of hate it also for the 7-Eleven, like the corner store owners, because I wonder what percentage of their revenue is based on sodas.
Well, that's why they were protesting it, because they were saying it's going to affect them in a large scale, and which I believe it is.
And what if they start going out of business?
What are we going to do? That's something to think about.
Yeah, I was sitting here and I was searching. I had rented a car to travel this past weekend. And I was shocked at the amount of taxes that I was.
Oh yeah, it's like 4 or 5 taxes.
It is 4 or 5 separate different
taxes.
Yeah,
but that's the same thing on your cable bill,
right?
On your cell phone bill. You like, who is this? They said, well, you got to call your village or your mayor. What is all these before we didn't even have all these taxes?
It was something say PAI tax. Yeah, what is that?
And if you call a phone company, they're gonna say, oh, you need to call your village or your alderman or your mayor of your town. Because they have implemented that. That's extra money. That's side money. That's their side hustle. Government, the governor, and then the governor, they pitched him a bill or a budget for school. He just slapped it and said, nope. Chicago public schools open this year. They do this every year. Really? They do this every year. Seriously.
Crazy.
I always, when I'm sharing information, I say, okay, so who on a monthly basis save all of their receipts when they purchase things and add up all the taxes that you've paid on a monthly basis?
I do save it, but I don't add up the taxes.
Right.
I do save all my receipts.
From a budgeting perspective, how much annually more did you pay in taxes that you didn't even account for?
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
And so it's just we're talking about taxes, right?
And that's why I think if they're going to do all of this taxing, let's think about the flat tax again. So, we pay the structure based on income for the income tax.
They ain't gonna go for that, because then the rich people will pay more taxes than we do. And right now, the poor and the middle class are paying more taxes.
Yeah, and then if we
rich.
have to pay more for consumer goods, that's really squeezing the lower middle.
I told you it's not going to be a middle class. Come January 2018, it'll be just poor people that work, people that got a job, and then the rich. And then the deep thought for today is experience is a wonderful thing. It enables us to recognize a mistake when we make it again. So experience is a wonderful thing. It enables us to recognize a mistake when we make it again. So now let's dive into this. How to stop living paycheck. Now, I know we don't have to tell you, because we've all been there in this situation. Living from one check to another just to have a peace of mind. There are 38 million Americans who live this way. They spend all of their entire check, according to research. So if they get paid weekly, when they get that check on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, whether they get it in a paper form or they get a direct deposit, by the time they pay out all of their bills, they don't have any money left. Car accidents happen, sudden job loss happens, natural disaster happens, a person gets sick and don't have health care happens, which means they end up getting sicker or perhaps even dying because they don't have health insurance. How do you break the struggle of living paycheck to paycheck? A lot of families, 2 adults in one household, are living off anywhere from $7 or $8 an hour to $10 an hour. 2 kids have school care. They got a vehicle. They should have car insurance. They got to pay for oil changes and putting gas in the car. If they don't have a vehicle, they got to have a bus card or something and allocate money to get back and forth to their job every day. So our goal here is not to say anything negative to anybody, but we want to try to come together as a whole to talk about what we can do as a whole to break the cycle starting today. So I have 7 topics to break the cycle. Number 1 is break the cycle. Number 2 is to pretend you earn less than you do. I don't know if that's possible. Number 3 is to create a budget. Number 4 is to build an emergency fund. Number 5 is to consider downsizing. Number 6 is pay down debt. And number 7 is don't forget your future. First one is break the cycle.
What exactly does
How
that
do
mean?
you break the cycle?
Increase income, decrease expenses.
Well, yeah. But this is like, okay, increase income, decrease expenses.
It's a mentality. It's a mindset.
That's logic.
It's logic for most.
Yeah.
But so if you're not tracking, so most people don't track their income.
I used to didn't track it.
Most people do.
I used to just know if money was in there and I would pay this. And then I'd be saying, wait a minute, what happened to my money? Then I think I done lost some because I start adding and I'm like, I should have, I didn't spend that much.
I'm not saying everyone.
Sometimes I wouldn't even go out the house because when you go out the house, that's when you start spending. As long as I'm in the house, I'm not spending money. But once I walk out that door, it's on and popping.
But we can logically know what we're supposed to do. And then there's something that kicks in called like habit.
Yeah, because everybody has a habit
and routine.
Everybody has a vice. They call it everybody has a vice. No, everybody has a vice. You can call it impulse. But there's something that somebody like women it could be shopping, it could be hair, it could be makeup, it could be purses, it could be shoes, it could just be clothes. Men, it could be gambling, it could be shooting dice, it could be shooting pool, it could be bowling, it could be their car. They buy $500 rims for each tire. You know, everybody has, I call it a habit. I call it a vice. Because when you do that one thing, you feel like you was here, you touching these You touching these stars in the ceiling at Intellectual Radio.
Okay, you are talking about logic, right?
Because debt, the word debt is stressful. The word debt has a way of snowballing your stress. Really? I'm serious. Because you're wondering how I'm going to do it, and worrying about it doesn't change it. It's just stressing you out. So we'll go down the line. What is one way that we as individuals who are living check to check can break the cycle? So we're going to give 5 different ways. There's 5 of us in the studio. Name one thing that you think a person can do to break the cycle of living check to check.
Well, for me, when you say break the cycle, the first thing I think of is like personal experience and things that I see. Like I see a lot of people that, especially in the city, that's on Section 8 houses, but they walking around in some $300-400 Jordans, some $300 pair of True Religion jeans, but then don't have enough money to actually go out and get something that they need, like a car or food in their house. So you have to break that cycle and figure out what do you need and what do you want. Because especially when you have children, because children are going to see that. I know for me, my dad, when I first got my job at 17 years old, and I didn't have any bills to pay, my dad came to me and told me, you got a job now, you have no bills, I don't want you spending all your money. One day I'm going to come to you and I might ask you for $50 or I might ask you for $200. Saved up, that's when we finna start charging you rent.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, I like that.
Oh, wow.
Well, I know my first job was with Mayor Byrne, Jane Byrne, way back in the day. And I had a little part-time from the time you got out of school to like August, the work program. And my father, I'll never forget, I had made plans. I was going to the mall. I was going to do this. And he was like, when you get paid. And I was looking at him like, why you need to know when I get paid? I'm looking like, he was like, when you get your check, half of it, you're going to put in your check. Because we all had checking account. You're going to put half of it in your checking account, your savings account. And the rest you could do whatever you want. And I'm looking at him like, not on my first check, And he was like, oh yeah, you're gonna do it. And I'm like, I was my mom like, can he tell me that I gotta do that? She said, your father. And ever since that day, I've always been a saver. Mm-hmm. I can hold on to some money to dust collect. A lot of my friends, I am their checking account. I am their savings account. They give it to me. I write them a receipt. They tell me when they want it for, and they can't come to me and ask for it. If they ask me for it more than 3 times, I give it all to them because I'm not going to go back and forth. I got people that start giving me money the end of this month for their Christmas fund, and I put it up for them. Mm-hmm. I can save money because one thing I learned, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to not have no money. Been there, done that, and I refuse. It's a mindset to go back there again.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, I pay myself 10% of any income from any of my businesses. 10%
that you save.
Immediately.
Pay
Immediately.
Yourself.
When how many cases of water I sell today? 10%. Gone. It's not even there anymore.
And you have the discipline not to touch it.
I don't have no problem with that. Yeah. I'm good at that.
I think,
but I'm also good at spending somebody.
Let's go back to what Khalil also said about the shoes.
Yeah,
I want to talk about that a little bit
because I don't want to talk about that
because you're talking about saving.
I don't want to talk about that
because you don't want to be broke, right? Which makes sense, right? That makes sense.
I love to shop.
But then when he's talking about the shoes, I also think about the people who are already broke and have been in this cycle of not having enough money to pay for things. And unfortunately, I think the way that you dress, your shoes and what you're wearing somehow separates you from the other people that are around you in the same situation so that you can have some type of status.
Oh, no doubt. You fake it till you make it.
Yeah. So if you say, okay, you're not saving any money, but you got new J's on your feet. And that person may be thinking, okay, but the J's on my feet elevate me to some level of status and some type of respect around my peers who also don't have the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a tough mindset to break and say, hey, I need to save that money for a rough day, when there are people who have never had anything ever to save, and they've always had a rough day every day.
Well, I agree with that. It gives you some sort of self-fulfillment, because when you put on new clothes or you put on a new something, you walk different. You have like an air about you feel differently. And so I think for some people, they have to have that. My thing is, it's nothing wrong with having it as long as you make sure you take care of everything else. That's my thing. I feel like if I work hard and I play hard, I should get something at the end of the month. I should treat myself. Now, I ain't saying I got to go out and buy a Tiffany bracelet and a necklace, but it could be some sunglasses. It could be a pair of earrings, something. You don't, but see, some people, they go from here to there. You really can't do that unless you got money saved somewhere. My dad made all of his girls save 3 months of our bills. And before we moved out, we were like, well, we don't know how much our bill's going to be. He said, well, get the paper. You're going to get a 1-bedroom or you're going to get a studio. And we was like, we don't know. And so then he just took one, calculated, and said, okay, you're going to get one where the heat is included or the light is included. We was like, what you talking? Because then we just know we want to get on our own, right? So then he told us to take the highest. We took the highest bill or whatever we think it would be, right? The highest light, the highest gas. Back then we had them brick cell phones that looked like a whole purse. So cards, and he totaled all. He just. Let's just say it's $1,000. Let's say back then, 10 years ago, you could live off $1,000. You could pay your rent, light, gas, phone. We didn't have cable back then, I don't think. Okay, so $1,000. So he was like, well, how long will it take you to save $3,000? I need to save $3,000. I don't care if that. He said, but you can lose your job. And I said, well, that won't happen to me. He said, well, who are you? What makes you different than everybody else? It was like he always played these tough love games with us. I used to get irritated. I was like, I don't want to play. But he would put something on our minds, and he always told us to get property. We never did do real estate, but he lives off his real estate. But I'm just saying, back then, if I had knew what I know now back then, I probably would be dangerous, because that makes you change. It makes you look at life differently. But when you're at home and you're young, you're not thinking about it like that.
Right.
So I had the $3,000 and I moved out. He said, you don't touch that unless it's an emergency. And then you take a percentage of what you make and you put it in the bank. And I said, well, what if my bills supersede and I can't say? He said, there's no such thing. You take a percentage. Back then it wasn't 10%, but you take a percentage. So if I made $1,500 and my bills was $1,000, do I need to spend $500? Or can I take $300 and add to that reserve? Because his goal was we need to get to 6 months, right, and then a year. But you got to work your way. That's how my father thought us as females. He said, so if you get with somebody, that's a bonus, because no matter what happens, it may not last forever, and you can always be able to take care of yourself.
So your father basically raised you with the break the cycle mindset.
Yeah.
And so for people who don't have
anybody like that in their life, then you might want to get a mentor, your teacher, someone that you see that's excelling.
Right.
Then you want to hang on to their coattail and say, hey, can you mentor me? I was never afraid to ask. People want free stuff. Can you give me a case of water? Can you give me this? Can you give me this? Don't be afraid to ask for somebody to mentor you.
I think going back to accountability and responsibility, you have to first recognize that there's an issue.
Well, if you got no money in the bank, that's an issue.
You may know that,
okay,
but not see it as an issue, because you're still going down this cycle. And so you may recognize that there's an issue. Okay. People say they want to get out of debt all the time.
Yes.
I want to get out of debt, but they're not willing to do anything to get out of debt. Discipline and take the necessary steps to get out of debt. Mm-hmm. But they want to get out of debt. So how do you do that? So it's no different than someone who is an alcoholic or drug addiction. You have to own up to that responsibility. You have to own it. You have to own it.
Person, and there's nothing wrong with, because none of us are perfect. Right. So we've all been there, but we just try not to go back there.
then you
have to make up here that I'm not going back.
You got to have the desire to
eat
stop.
potty meat and crackers or sardines or oodle noodles. Nothing wrong with it, but you might not want to eat it every day.
Because we recognize that there are people who have done just this.
Yeah.
They've cut back all that they can cut back. They've looked at everything.
And that don't work. Well, this is the second scenario. It says pretend you earn less than you do. They said, why it may be easier said than done. That could entail to living on less than you earn. Because a lot of people live, but the income that come in, it don't equal. It doesn't equal to that amount.
These days, they call them minimalists.
What they call them?
Minimalists.
Minimalist. And
right?
what's a minimalist?
It's an individual who has the mindset that they don't need to live off of X amount of dollars or have X amount of living space. The bare minimum, whatever it would take, the bare minimum, a minimalist. And so I don't need 1,200 square feet. I can live in 300 square feet.
Well, that's what Lakita brought up a couple of weeks ago.
Right. But
and sometimes people do that because they want status, they want to entertain, want to do this. But when you get to that status, that means your light bill, your gas bill is going to require more. Everything is going to require almost double than what you're living off of. I keep on telling everybody every show I'm getting rid of Comcast. When I walk in here and say I get rid of Comcast, then y'all gonna know that's another bill I ain't gonna have to pay. And so you can start small. You don't have to say 10%. If you're barely making it, start with $10 or $20 every pay period, and then work your way up. I have a jar, well, not a jar, but like this big old, like a baby bottle, the one you get from a toy store, like a bank. And now I just started another one with dollars. So, and once I just drop all my change in there. I don't even think about it that it's there. I don't touch it until the end of the year, and then I'll see how much I have accumulated.
That's your Christmas fund.
And that's my Christmas fund. And then I start all over in January,
That's
but
right.
I don't touch it.
That's right.
I don't touch it. So it's how can we get people that say, when I get paid and I pay all my bills, I don't have anything left aside 10% or $20. You know what? Then you have to downsize the bills. That's what my father taught us. So if your bills total $800 and your check is $815, right? You got to put gas in your car because you got to get to work for the next week or next 2 weeks. So then every bill, he would take $3 to $4 off of every bill. And then that money you put up, because guess what? They just want you to send them something.
And you can call.
You can call them, make a payment arrangement.
And make that a negotiation and say, you know what, I'd like to pay you $50, but all I have is $30. Can I send you that on a
And if they say no, you just send it anyway, because they ain't going to send it back. Trust me. If you're paying something every month, they're not going to send it back. The next thing it says, create a budget. If you continue to live below your means on an ongoing basis, it's a catastrophe waiting to hit. Every ounce of your money is going. If you don't, that's a problem. You can do a spreadsheet. You can do a journal. I got my journal in the car, thanks to Bernard last week. So whatever it is, you list all of your bills and how much all of your average bills cost. Because if you're living somewhere, you got a lease or if you got a mortgage, so you already know. You have to know how to budget. And let's say the bills were $815 and you bringing in $840. So you got $25, right? And let's say you want to put up $50 a month and you got 5 bills. I would take $10 off of each bill. I would still pay my bill every month, but so now you got $50 you can put away. And you do that every month. And if you can't do it with 50, do 30, do 20, but you got to start.
Do 5.
See, the thing about it is you got to start.
That's right.
Because everybody needs an emergency
That
fund.
is so true. That is so true.
I think one of the things that comes into play also, everybody knows the Joneses, right? Everyone's
I know them. I'm trying to get with them. They won't
right.
return my phone calls.
They're trying to run with the Joneses, trying to do what everybody else is doing. You can't do that. And I know sometimes we feel judged, and we have to have a sense of righteousness to where you can't worry about what someone else thinks. You just can't worry about it. They may try and talk about you. They may judge you and so forth, but you have to own where you are because you desire to get to a certain place. And so now, if they're judging you and talking about you, they're not your friend.
That's right. Hello.
They're not there to support you. They don't love you.
We used to
be
worried about that. I don't worry about that. I mean, everybody went through that at one point in their life. They said when you worry about what everybody said about how you look, how you dress, what kind of car you drive, where you live, or you're in the burbs, you're in the city, you here. They said once you get 40, you could care less what people think about how you dress, where you live, what you do. They broke this down to non-discretionary expenses. Non-discretionary expenses would be your rent, your mortgage, your groceries, your utility bill, your insurance payments, because you have to have that, right? Discretionary spending, eating out, cable, entertainment, cell phones, clothes, shoes, hair, makeup, jewelry.
It sounds like you can't do those things, but
do you need them though? I mean, when it comes to the non-discretionary versus discretionary.
Right. You make this month. You don't get your weave done.
All right, they're gonna be inboxing you.
No, what I'm saying is, you could go natural.
I'm natural. I'm all natural. Call me up. I can tell you how I go all natural.
What is that? $400 to maintain
That's on the low end, I think.
Now, and I'm just being transparent. I used to get my hair cut every week. Not anymore.
What?
Right?
You don't go to the barbershop
Not every week.
Why not?
It's twice a month now.
Okay.
So instead of $25, $30 every week, now it's only $25, $30 every 2 weeks.
That's right.
I'm cutting back. And so, you know, do you need to get your nails done? Can you do them? Are there some things that you can do yourself?
Yeah.
There's certain things that you can do yourself. And it's okay. Because you
trying to hit close to home over here. I'm looking at my nails right now.
What is it? It's live like no one else so that you can live like no one else.
Yeah, that's it.
That means live below the bar and save.
And it says if you haven't been budgeting, you will be totally surprised if you're not on a budget. Money is actually going.
That's why you have to track it.
And that in itself would be enough to help you curtail your spending habits.
That's right. Because then you'll know where to pull back. And we used that example last week. If I'm spending $400 on groceries, but I'm eating out $300, well, that's $700.
You're throwing away food. You're throwing away food. Yeah.
Why am I? That's $700 in a month. That doesn't even. I'm saying that doesn't even make sense. That don't even make sense.
Yeah. Downside. The next one is downsizing. It may be time to consider a lifestyle change. And it's not permanent. It's temporary. You heard what Lakita says. Live like, what is it, Lakita?
Live like no one else so that you can live like no one else.
That could be me moving to a cheaper house or an apartment.
Move back with your mom and daddy for a year. And save your whole check.
Ooh. You got to pay mom and dad.
You got to pay mom and dad something. And then you got to live by mom and dad rules.
We'll buy some food in there.
Well, something.
You know, get rid of your gym membership and go walking. Do exercise in your house. Opt in a jog or walk, you know. Do you have to have an expensive car?
Can you sell it?
Right. Can you sell? Can you get a car without a car note? You know, when you go out and you buying gas, can you do everything you need in the city in one day versus going to the city every day? Planning ahead. I did that because I was like, I'm keep going here. Why am I wasting up my gas? This is crazy. I can see you on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I can't see you no other day because that's the only day my car going that way. You know, so that, I mean, these are little things. And then the other one I like, it says pay down your debt. Instead of keep raising your debt, pay down your debt. You got bills hanging over your head, but you study charging it. And you sending them the minimum. You will never pay that bill down. Never. So you don't have to, people used to love to have credit. It's good to have credit, but you don't want to overdo it. Because once you pay off a credit card, you just keep it for an emergency. But some people live off their credit cards and then send a minimum. If you got a $20,000 credit limit on a Visa or American Express and you send them $50, they laughing at you. Because I don't even think they even hit the interest. That's not even going on the bill.
Yeah, don't be late. Then you have a $35 late penalty.
Yeah. And then the last one that has, don't forget your future. You're living day to day and not thinking about a budget, downsizing, breaking the cycle. You don't have a 401k. You don't have an IRA. You don't have none of that. And so if you can't make it off the money that you have now, and you don't have a nest egg or an emergency fund, and you don't have a 401k or profit sharing, off of one Social Security check, if they even have it when that time comes, how are they going to make it? If they can't live off their regular check and they're going to be 65 or older, how are they going to live then? Because the cost of living is going to be more.
That's right.
And if you don't own your house, where you don't have to never move as long as the other people are paying rent, what are you going to do? If you don't have a savings account or a nest egg or an emergency fund or a 401k or profit sharing, and you're 65 years old, are you going to be at Walmart as a greeter?
I think Khalil mentioned something earlier, which is important as well, and that's assessing your needs and your wants. You got to separate those out and deal with what you need, not necessarily what you want. Because the want, and I don't want to get too biblical, but I don't even look at needs and wants, because I know that God will give me desires. All three totally separate things. Totally separate. Totally separate. But focus on what you really need. And that's your minimalist mindset. And that's the one thing, the book that we're going to work on, that's going to help you get there.
Yeah, we're going to announce the book that we're going to be reading, and we're going to announce on how to enter the elevator pitch for a prize and a trophy. You're tuned into Intellectual Radio, Making Waves with Miss Darci. We're talking about breaking the cycle of living check to check. So we're going to come back and talk about how can you prepare or save to get a month ahead. Do you think that's possible? Well, stay tuned. Share the broadcast. If you have a comment or suggestion and you have broke the cycle, or you have a budget, or you have an emergency fund, we would love to hear from you, and Khalil will give you that number to call.
The number is 708-223-8953. 223-8953.
Back in a moment.
Hey, this is Lenny Williams, and I enjoy listening to IntellectualRadio.com and Making Waves with Miss Darci. Hey, this is...
Welcome back. If you're talking about how to break the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. And so how can you start to save, let's say starting right now this month, it's the first of the month, what can you do right now to get a month ahead? So let's say you get paid this Wednesday, this Thursday, this Friday, people that are on Social Security, disability, today or one day this week, how can you start to prepare to save where you at least have 1 month of income so that you don't have to nervously wait on that check or be afraid of being laid off and then you can't pay your car note and then you can't pay this and then the cycle starts, right? The cycle starts. So if you have a piece of paper, we're going to go through this scenario. Yeah, I know I love these little scenarios. So we're going to introduce you to Diane King. Mother, she's 30 years old and she has 2 kids. Her monthly take-home pay after taxes, insurance, retirement is $2,100 a month. She get paid on the 1st and the 15th of every month. So she got paid today. So this means twice a month she brings home $1,050. She waits on pins and needles for payday because she has to pay $700 of rent, 15th paycheck, so it'd be paid on time for the 1st. That leaves her with $250. Remember, she brings home $1,050. Her rent is $700. That leaves her with $250.
$350.
So $350 until the 1st. She still has to buy food. She had to pay for her utilities. She doesn't have a car payment, but she might need repairs. She wants to set some money aside for expenses, and she has to pay child care.
Well, all her money's gone. Child care. That's.
So here's how her budget works. Her paycheck is $1,050. Her phone bill is $50 on the 1st. Her child care is $600. Gas is $75. Her car repair, she don't have any this month. She has a student loan, $300. And miscellaneous is $25. How much is that?
1,075, 1,100.
And remember, she only brought home $1,050.
I got it, but she has $350 left over
from the 15th.
From the 15th.
Right. Now her second check is $1,050. Her rent is $700.
Is $1,800.
Electricity $100. $200 on groceries, and $50 for her water bill.
I didn't keep up.
Yeah, this ain't adding up.
Because at this moment, she's $1,800 in with her rent and all the other expenses that you mentioned on the 1st. She's at $1,800 there.
Well, she don't have enough because
she has $25 left over.
Enough.
If one of her boys were to get sick and need to go to a doctor, it would be a $10 copay, which would eat up her $25.
Based on these numbers, she's at a deficit.
If she has to go to the doctor, if she got to get medicine, she still got a copay, whether it's $2.50 or $5. She can't even afford for either one of her children to be sick, her car to break down, be able to go over that amount. Any setback.
And what's her name?
Diane King.
So Diane doesn't ever.
So how can Diane King get ahead on $2,100 a month, which is $1,050 every pay period?
Never spend her income tax refund check. That's one. When she gets her refund check, she needs to put it directly in the bank, whatever that is, ever. And that is her rainy day.
Well, what I would say is, since she know her car don't need repair, she don't have a car note, right? She need to make sure that anything, her oil is always changed. Everything is done. If something happens, she gonna need to have a bus card, be able to have money left over, get a bus card in case something happened to her car and she can't get. Because if she can't get to work, because that's what's keeping her on survival, right? Or she may have to carpool. You have to have an alternative. If she's living like that, she has to have an alternative if something happens and her car breaks down. Doesn't, how's she gonna get to work? I'm just throwing this out here. How can she cut back on electricity and food?
The food.
My thing would be electricity. Unplug everything when you leave. I know it works. I got my bill. I think it was $21 and some change. It did drop. I put everything on the power surger. I've turned it to off.
She was not the refrigerator.
Yeah. Not my refrigerator. But it did drop 20. Now I need to see what it's going to do the next month, but it did drop.
$100 in a year. So what are you going to say about food?
$200, that ain't even no money. So you can't cut back on food. How can you cut back on food?
What she can do is with a neighbor or a friend, they can do potluck. So like, let's just say you have a friend, 3 people in my family, you got 3 people in your family. Everybody buys together and makes a lasagna and split it. Makes a big
or beef stew or chicken noodles.
Yes, and split it.
Okay. That makes sense.
More at one time, and then you're saving.
But now she saved enough for a month ahead. Now, I know y'all want to know how she did this, right? Because she only had $25 left, right? So she picked up extra income. She couldn't afford to the income, the babysitter, and there'll be more gas. So Diane King babysits her brother's children on the weekend. Her brother pays her $75 a week. He sends food for the kids, so she won't have to add to her expenses, which gives her an additional $300 per month. So the money that she gets from babysitting at her home, where she doesn't have to leave, puts that money up. And now she has accumulated 6 months of income.
So that's increasing
in her emergency fund
and decreasing your expenses.
So that's you said $300 a month in a year. That's $3,600. But her monthly expenses is $2,100. So she accumulated 1 month extra income, 1.5 month extra income in 1 year.
Yeah. Pick up some more kids. I don't know. But this is how she plans to stop living from check to check. She tries to keep her expenses low. She looks for sales. She uses coupons and whatever she can do to curtail that $2,100 a month.
So she is tracking her cash
She's tracking.
flow.
Yeah, she's tracking.
Her inflow of cash, her outflow of cash.
But she's not touching the $75 a week.
So she can see where the money's going so that she knows what decisions she needs to make and how creative she can be in searching for additional income. And being that creative to say, okay, what's around me to where I don't have to drive?
Well, now, as long as she don't spend it, she can continue to get to the 90 days of income. She will continue. I would say if she can pick up with somebody else's kids, since she's already doing it and just on the weekend, or she can take the money, that $300 a month, and maybe invest it where it's collecting more interest than just sitting in the bank or sitting in her house. She can take that $300 and do something where it will accumulate, because she know that's coming in. Because sometimes you can have to sit in a bank account where it ain't making no interest. You might want to put it in somewhere where it's going to make some interest off of it, or roll it over into a CD for $500 or $1,000 to take, because she know that's coming in every month, unless her brother loses a job. But what can she do with that $300 to double it or triple it? Right now, she's a month ahead.
Right.
Her goal is to get to 90 days ahead and then 6 months ahead. At this rate, if she just does this, it'll take her 3 years. But what can she do to speed up that process? My suggestion would call me up and do some surveys.
And to your point, income. So your earning in a CD is earning less than 1%. So that's not a whole lot of money, and your money's sitting and it's tied up.
Yeah.
And so, but looking at from an entrepreneurial perspective, what can you create that's going to have you to get a better return on that investment that you just created?
Yeah. She gathered $1,800 of watching her brother's kids, which gives her a total savings of $1,920. She made the necessary repairs on her car, which was $700, which brings her savings down to $1,220. She continues to save the babysitting money for another 2 months, which was $600. And she reduced her electricity bill down to $150, which leaves her $2,010. Now she's only $90 away from being a month ahead. Do you think she made wise choices in getting all the necessary repairs on her car?
I believe so.
What if she was to get hurt at work, or when her kids was to get hurt? Because that's, but at least she got something.
And you're babysitting, dog walking, sitting for an elderly person, right? And so you may not have to have any type of special care services, but just camaraderie, just sitting there, just being there in their presence, right? And so you can be compensated in that way.
And I like the fact that she started. See, we can talk about it all the time, but you got to do it.
You got to do it.
And the fact that she wanted her weekends so she could relax, but then she got to think about her financial. It's a mindset. So she took on the responsibility of babysitting. You know, I think she did a great job in doing that, but now she's tracking her progress. So it ends up being where she's on a budget, where she's tracking what she's doing, and she's still looking for ways to downsize. So she said, even though she was spending $200 on groceries, now she's only spending like between 147 and 155 because now she's using coupons. And so when something's on sale, she may double up so that she don't have to buy it the next month, which I do that all the time. But what are some of the other ways a person can do to get them to start to break the cycle of living from check to check, to at least work at saving a month worth of income for an emergency fund?
I know a lot of people, when they're not working their main job, they start working Uber. They wake up early in the airport. You can make in 2 days like $500.
Oh wow! I know Lyft is good because we used Lyft Friday morning to go to the destination where the bus was, and so we didn't want to leave our car. Lyft was there, inexpensive. They were real cheerful that early in the morning. Great conversation. They helped us get our bags out. And so when we got back to Broadview, we needed to go back home. And so when we pulled up, I called Lyft. They were there within 8 minutes. So I haven't used Uber yet, but Lyft was the bomb.com. I'm serious.
How much do people normally spend on lunch?
On lunch?
On average.
Anywhere from $10 to $15, maybe $10 to $20, depending on where to go.
Lunch.
Would you bring a sandwich?
No, I don't eat lunch. I eat a nice breakfast. I skip lunch and dinner. So
you got to eat something. You can't go that long.
No, I don't.
You can eat fruit or something, drink some water or something.
What I'm saying is, and if that's the case, that's fine.
Okay.
Right.
But you're saying you go without lunch.
So what I'm saying for me, right? So one of the things I did was I cut out lunch.
Okay.
If that's $10 a day, that's $50 a week.
And time 4, that's $200
right?
A month.
A month. Which is $2,400 a year. So I'm just looking at, that's just lunch. So that's
just one thing.
That's just one thing. Could you cut out a drink of coffee in the morning?
Okay, now you're hitting below the belt.
So here's what I did now. So I used to buy, because when I was running the cafe, I used to drink coffee. I didn't really drink coffee that much, but because I had to learn about coffee, I began to drink it, right? Drink it. So if and I'm not talking about Starbucks, but you're talking anywhere from $2 to $5.
Yeah, see, I can't. I'm not at that level. I just need one cup, but I can't pay that much for Starbucks. Starbucks can start at $2 and go to $20-some.
People are drinking coffee all day.
I know, and they drink it every day.
Every day,
at that costing that much money.
Right. So I stopped buying coffee out. I found a brand that I like, if you will, of coffee, and I make my coffee at home.
Well, I'm trying now. That I am trying, but I'm wasting money. I'm trying not to waste money. I bought the Keurig, or it was a gift. I got the Keurig. It was a gift, and so I bought all the cups from Sam's Club with the lids, just same size. I got all of that, and they just sitting there. My thing is, I don't like coffee strong, so I went to buy the Dunkin' Donuts coffee. They don't have the medium. So the one I bought is just too strong. So now I'm playing with it to know how much water to add to get, and I still ain't got it right. So I left that brand. I went to 2 other brands, and they in the cabinet. So I'm getting ready to get them away this weekend. And I'm looking for one I can't do real strong coffee.
Folgers. Go back to Folgers.
I don't know if I tried Folgers.
Folgers.
What's the other one? What's the other one?
8 o'clock.
What's the no? It's another
without the Keurig, because it's
not Folgers. What's the other one?
That's more expensive.
I forgot that. I don't mind expense. If I find the one I need, then the money I get from my sponsor, I won't have to spend it back. That's my issue.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have this. I would have the cup from Sam Club that come in 200 like this with the lid. but I it's too strong. So I'm working on trying to find one that's not as strong. And then you won't see me with this. Guaranteed.
Where not necessarily it's
yeah. And I'm cutting back on my shopping. So it's hard, but I'm working toward that.
I'm so unhappy with this cash flow situation of what's her name again?
Diane King.
Diane King.
How can we help her?
I don't know if I wrote everything. I was writing this fast.
Yeah, because I get stuck on the math. So I was stuck for about 10 minutes because it wasn't adding up properly. Okay. But it's okay. I'm good now. I'm moving on. Okay. Cash flow is too slow. So that's why I want to go. Even cutting back with this tight budget, it's too slow.
But this is a generic, but some people can relate to this.
This looks real.
That's real. That's real.
That's what I'm saying. This is too slow, and this would cause frustration for me.
So what could she do?
So I want to go back to my first thought.
Okay.
That is your taxes.
Her income taxes.
A person who is in this tax bracket should have a pretty decent. Okay. This person should never splurge and sit and buy things that they don't need with their return.
Return is like $4,000.
She should put that directly in the bank because
that's her emergency fund.
$4,000 already is almost 2 months of her rent. Her 2 months of her expense.
Now, how long should she do that? She should do that every year.
Every year. That gives her wiggle room every month that she could ration out. When she gets close to the end of the year, she can say, okay, if I get close to the end of the year and I never had to use any of this money for emergency, then I will treat myself to 1,000 of it and keep it, a percentage of it.
5 years is $20,000.
Yes. Okay. So let's go also back to let's also go back to taxes.
Okay.
This person with this income, if she is getting $300 a month from her brother in childcare, this person should invest in the paperwork to start a business and get a LLC. Therefore, with her taxes, she can claim a number of expenses when she itemizes that actually brings her tax deductions up higher so that she can get an even better return. If she wants to claim any income necessarily from the child care, I would not necessarily recommend that. I'm not saying that I'm not recommending anything on that because
she can put the children to work though as a tax write-off because you can pay your kids.
Yes, do that.
You can pay
grandbaby money.
Pay your kids to cut the grass. You can pay the kids for chores and things like that. And guess what? You're going to get more tax deductions, therefore increasing your tax return. Although you will pay a higher tax fee if you allow an accountant.
But it should balance out.
But you get more money. And then she's going to have a bigger lump sum of money to start that year.
I like that.
To be managed.
I like
because
that.
Because this little bit.
It takes forever.
This is so tedious.
Now they gave some suggestions.
I believe she can do it.
Use eBay or Craigslist to sell unwanted items. Become a seller on Amazon, take surveys, which I do, barter, exchange social skills, with friends or, put it out there on social media, pick up a seasonal job or part-time work or a gig you can do from home that doesn't require gas or a babysitter to do it.
Right. She needs to
sell old broken jewelry for cash. If you have the opportunity to babysit some more, maybe if you have because she has a house, maybe you can, that go into extravagant events, like they go into, red carpets or black tie affair. For doctors and lawyers, because they're going to pay you a little bit more.
That's where you start your business and you offer that up as a service.
You offer that up. Tutor. If she's at home anyway and she babysitting, you can tutor in home. That way she doesn't have to leave home. Freelance, graphic design. She got a degree because she's paying a student loan. I don't know what her degree is in, and like Lakita said, they got on here to save your tax refund and invest it so that you can double
in real estate
every year.
Passive income.
Say if she get a works bonus, if you get paid bi-weekly, that means you receive 2 extra checks at the end of the year. Throughout the year, because some months there are five weekends and you get paid twice. That you have an extra check. So what are you doing with that extra check in a year? So we're gonna wrap things up. So getting a month ahead, it is doable. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? Yes. With determination and the right mindset, it's possible. But it's on you to find your own strategy that works for you to stop living check to check, break the cycle today and figure out a way. If you need a mentor, if you would like a free 10 or 15 minute consultation, you can hit any of us up on social media. And then remember, I said 10 or 15 minutes free. That's the max. And then anything else after that, each individual. So what can we offer as a suggestion in closing for individuals who are listening to get a month ahead or to break the cycle?
Get a plan. Find out where you want to go and put a strategy in place to get there. Write it down. Keep track of everything. And apply discipline.
Get a budget. Be determined. Get you a mentor or accountability partner. You need to know where your money going. Like Bernard said, you can't just because you know you get a check and it goes direct deposit and you pay all the bills, you don't look to see where the money is going, because you could be cutting back just on your regular bi-weekly, which is what I did. And I was shocked because I was spending almost $300 to $400 that didn't even make sense and didn't even know where it was going. So you have to do that. Only you know. But if you are tired, you have to be sick and tired first before you change your mindset. If you're okay with being broke, then I'm not speaking to you. Living from check to check, then I'm not speaking to you. But if you know someone who is tired of being sick and tired of being broke and can't go nowhere, can't do anything, and don't have a 401k, Aaron, and don't have a savings account, and don't have an emergency fund, then this show is for you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that it's have a dream and a vision and aspire to accomplish that dream. So if you have a dream that you really, really want to do something, you will sacrifice and figure out creative ways to put yourself in a financial position to get there. You'll cut back on lunch. You'll cut back on coffee. You'll save your income tax return or make some changes to your return. You'll do all these things because you're trying to get to where you want to go. So that starts first with the vision and a dream. And you got to do it.
Cut back on that weed. I got to cut back now, y'all, this month on getting my little nails done and getting my pedicure. Changes, we don't have to have that Michael Kors purse or that designer watch or whatever. The fall is approaching and it's time to start over. You got holidays coming up. You have a lot to think about. But remember, it's up to you. You have to want to do it. We're just sharing information and providing introspection. Clear?
I would say don't worry about other people's opinion of you. I know a lot of people get these nice things because they just want a nice compliment, or for the guys, sometimes it's to impress a girl. Like I said, with the expensive clothes, I'm the type of guy, I'll be cool with some Levi's. And if you want to impress a girl, you just got to get your game right.
All right, now.
It's
Come
not
on,
what
Khalil.
you're wearing. It's how you approach them. So,
open up them car doors, give them some flowers, some Fannie Mae pixies.
Yeah, so
have a nice home.
I would just say don't worry about people's opinion.
Right, like Makin said, get a home. Don't be trying to come put your feet up on my cocktail table because it ain't going on.
and pay yourself first.
Get your feet down. What you say, Bernard?
Pay yourself first. You got to pay yourself.
Even if it's $5 or $10 a week or per pay period, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
But start today.
Yeah, act like you're a bill.
Start today. Start today. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Oh, the book that we're going to be reading, and we're going to be talking about it next week, is by Gary Keller. And so I'm going to get the cover and post it, the one thing. And that's what we're going to be discussing next week. I will post how the elevator pitch is going to go starting next Tuesday. We'll talk about it on Thursday. What should be included in the elevator pitch? And so each one of us will give you what should be included in the elevator pitch and how you can stop wasting money. So that's what we're going to be talking about day after tomorrow. Build your own dreams, or someone else will hire you to build theirs. And that would be me or one of us. Thanks for tuning in, and we're out. Good job.